US, nearly every picky eater was told there are starving children in Africa. Though the statement is entirely true, we often forget that there are starving people right here in the US. According to the US Department of Agriculture, 10.2%, that's roughly 13.5 million people of US households were food insecure at some time during 2021. Those of us with a stable food supply tend to view world hunger as a distant problem that isn't affecting us, often forgetting how large of an issue global hunger really is. With an ever-increasing population, this USDA statistic prevents the pressing question of how we are going to save humanity from starvation. Today, we will discuss how entrepreneur and CEO of Grow Enterprise, Sara Menker, set out to tackle this problem. Leaving behind the job she went to college for, Ms. Menker utilized and created modern technology to propose an entirely feasible solution to this overwhelming crisis. To start, she gave up a successful career to tackle a tremendously complicated and sizable problem. After graduating college at the age of 24, Sara Menker started a lucrative career on Wall Street. She became critical of food accessibility with the hunger crisis of 2008. This crisis really opened her eyes to the problems that were going on around the world. After leaving Wall Street at the age of 29, 5 years later, she dedicated 2 years of her life to researching the problem. Then, in 2014, she started a new business, the Grow Enterprise, searching for a way to minimize world hunger and influence leaders to improve the system. Following the start of her new business, she found a new approach to the problem of world hunger. This approach introduced technology to predict agricultural data and technology that was able to forecast climate trends. So what do I mean by technology that can predict agricultural data? This was real-time technology that has the ability to forecast supply and demand of major crops and prices of those crops. So using Africa as an example, these key crops are corn, soy, wheat, and rice. This goes hand in hand with anticipating climate trends, which will show drought and crop conditions. These two pieces of information coupled together will allow world leaders and people in those regions to come up with emergency plans and preventive solutions. In the end, she proposed a solution that doesn't require places in need of food to rely on other countries. At some point in our lives, we've all seen advertisements and campaigns about malnourished children in faraway places. These ads often talk about donating 1 cent a day or perhaps a small sum. And though these are honorable campaigns, these are not permanent solutions. Instead, the solution has to come internally. So, focusing on this, Sara Menker proposes the commercialization of agricultural industries. These would take place in the following regions: Africa, China, and India. These places are importing more food than they're able to provide for their people. And if that connection with who they're importing from was to be disconnected, it would have drastic repercussions. So by introducing commercialized agriculture, there would of course be more jobs in that area, as well as just a larger food yield. Going back to the example of Africa, they have vast amounts of unused farmlands that would be ideal for this. Of course, there has to be some balance, and Sara Menker acknowledges that. She believes there should be a lower cost of transportation and startup materials for small-scale agriculture. Of course, there would also need to be, banks would also have to lower interest and risk of taking loans for small-scale agriculture. What's really holding back the people in these areas from being able to feed themselves and provide for themselves is that it's just too expensive and too risky. Instead, if it was able to be viewed as a successful, or at least highly successful chance expenditure, we would see a drastic change in these areas. Wrapping up now, when faced with the devastating problems the decades of great minds have failed to solve, Sara Menker took action. According to Sara Menker's research, there will come a tipping point where global hunger will rise drastically in the not far off year of 2030. The persistence of Sara Menker has yielded results that, if properly applied, could save millions from starvation. In sum, this amazing young entrepreneur gave up a comfortable life to successfully fix a broken system by revolutionizing the technology used to assess the situation. Thanks to Ms. Menker's contributions, a day may yet come when parents won't be able to say there are starving children in Africa. Really good.